Stay tuned to Cardinal Television. Commotion's coming up next. Hello everybody, you're tuned into Commotion, St. John Fisher's pop culture debate show here on Cardinal Television. And I'm your host, Rob Sweet. The rules of Commotion are as follows. I will offer up questions and topics of discussion for our three panelists to rant, rave, and debate about. At the end of the program, the panelist who has offered the best arguments throughout the show will be declared the winner, as chosen by myself. The winner will be offered 30 seconds of FaceTime to talk about whatever is on their mind. So let me introduce you to our panelists today. First we have James Bailey, who once made Coach Vosberg smile. Congratulations, I hear it's a very hard task to do.
It's nearly impossible.
Good job. Next we have Allison Baird, a two-time sectional champion in volleyball. Good job on that.
Thank you.
You ready to become a commotional champion?
Oh, I am completely ready.
And lastly, we have Jeff Weinberg, who's not from here. Jeff, if you're not from here, where are you from?
I'm from where the grass isn't green and the rain isn't very wet. I'm from California.
Oh, well, I think I want to trade places and go there. Okay, contestants, thank you for joining us today. And now, let's get commotional. And for our first topic, recently the federal government has announced its intent for a public housing smoking ban. This would mean that smokers would not be allowed to smoke even within their own homes, with bans already extending from public places like restaurants and sporting events to even parks and bars. Is this a cruel measure taken by the government against the smoking population, who are often addicted to these substances? Or is it right to focus more on those who live around them? Jeff, I'm going to start with you, coming from the great state of California.
Okay, well, for me, I've been in houses where there have been smokers, and I don't own a house, but if I did own a house, I would certainly want to be able to smoke in it, even if my family was around.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I'd probably go outside. I wouldn't need to be told to protect my family or anything like that. And it is my own space. It is my own space that I own. So even if I didn't want to go outside and I want to stay inside, I should have the right to do so.
Okay, so you should have the right because it's your home, but you would personally make the consideration for others. Allison, what do you think about it?
I agree, but I disagree at the same time. I think this is a big step in humanity right now. I know everyone is very aware of how dangerous smoking is and how secondhand smoke can kill lives as well.
It's horrible.
Exactly, and I mean, in my case, if I was around someone smoking and I somehow got sick or someone I loved or knew got sick from secondhand smoke, I'd be absolutely devastated. So even though it does seem extreme and very, very harsh, I think we're on the right path for sure.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. James, do you have the same opinions about that?
Well, this public housing does that mean they're renting? What is it?
Public housing is like the public housing buildings, people that have to pay minimum rent to live somewhere.
Yeah, okay. So my father owns 2 apartment houses actually, and he had a longtime tenant of 16 years recently passed away. And so I was helping work with him this past summer on actually cleaning it and getting it ready for a new tenant. And we put, I kid you not, 6 to 8 coats of paint over everything, and you couldn't get the smoking dinge out. You couldn't get the smell out. I think that in places like public housing, this is absolutely right because, it's their own home. So yeah, if they're renting a place, it's not their own home. It's a place that they're just going into, and it kind of ruins the property value and it ruins it for the people that are going to live there after them. So I think that this is a proper thing, and I think that they should be spending more time working on quitting.
I don't think that you can really define that as public housing. It's not necessarily like the government or anything like that. Your dad owns those apartments, and so there should be a prior agreement set between the tenant and the landowner, whether or not you can smoke in the apartment or anything like that. That should be in the contract.
It's fine,
and
but
then
I think that the government stepping in isn't a bad thing. And I think that people shouldn't be smoking inside houses and stuff like that.
Okay.
I agree.
Fair enough, guys. I'm going to step in real quick. You guys got plenty of chances to debate, hopefully on this next topic, because we've got New York's Attorney General. He announced that daily fantasy sports such as FanDuel and DraftKings is a form of illegal gambling and has been banned in New York State. New York has a long history of trying to prevent illegal gambling, but have they gone too far, and are daily fantasy sports really all that bad? I mean, let's start with James on this one, because you're a sports guy. I know that.
I'm a big sports guy. I play regular fantasy football. Never done any of the daily sort of stuff. And the way I see it and the way I see them ruling on it, I think it is a lot more of a game of chance when you're going daily. And I also think that's much easier to blow out of money daily, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep people that are addicted to gambling away from it. And football's not the best example because they play weekly, but in a sport like basketball, they have daily fantasy basketball. You can go play that every single night, and
Hockey,
if
baseball.
you're not part of the 1% that's winning, 1% is winning 90%, which is basically how this country works as a whole. But I mean, it's just if you're not part of the 1% that's winning all the time, then you're going to blow all of your money, and then you're going to be left out.
So you think that New York State should be?
I don't know if they should step in right now, but I definitely understand their logic, and I definitely am not against them banning it.
Okay, Allison, are you a big gambler?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh
no,
yeah?
No. I mean, I don't know much about fantasy football, and I'm not a big football person. I have some friends, people in family probably play fantasy football here and there. I honestly don't see what's so wrong about it. If you're gambling, if you're spending money, all of that kind of stuff, that's your personal choice. You have control over what you're spending. So I don't see what they're hurting. I honestly do not see like the big rush about this. I don't understand why it's a big thing right now.
Jeff, is it a game of luck, or are you in control of your destiny?
You're actually not ever like in control of your destiny, like especially in casinos, because usually it's 45% chance that you're going to win and 55% the house is going to win. But in the case of online gambling, I think that it still should be legal, but it needs to get cut down for sure. There needs to be limitations put on how much you can gamble. And
to make it clear, daily fantasy is different than just regular fantasy in that, like I said, you can play it every day. And they've had FanDuel and DraftKings had a problem where they're not allowed to gamble on their own sites, but they were for a long time allowed to gamble on each other's sites. Okay. And so the people winning all the money were the people from FanDuel that were playing on DraftKings, the people on DraftKings that were playing on FanDuel.
Like flip-flopping almost.
So the deck was already stacked against people. And so they've banned that, but it still hasn't really fixed the issue at all. And it's more to save people from themselves, because really there are people that are, you can make the thing about smoking, they are addicted, they should be able to do it in your house. Well, people are addicted to gambling, and and online you can just click a button and you just spend $100, gambled it away, and now you've lost $100, So it's so easy to lose money that I think that it should be regulated to kind of help people keep them safe for themselves.
Yeah, but people are addicted to alcohol too. Like there's alcoholics, and they're still gonna drink. And even if you did take it away, they're still gonna drink. So if you take away DraftKings from,
but you can regulate DraftKings and FanDuel by simply in the state they're gonna block it.
True, and you can regulate alcohol.
But they can also fight against that. What's going to really make them not play anymore?
So you could tax. I'm proposing that you could tax DraftKings or FanDuel or something like that, because they do make so much revenue, just like we tax alcohol, and just how they should tax marijuana. From my personal,
no one can fault you on that. No, but I'm just thinking that it's a good idea to help protect people from themselves, because some people are just going to keep on losing it, and I know people that play fantasy all the time, and they haven't lost big yet, but it's very easy to lose big.
Right. Well, but the argument also could be made, like states such as New Jersey have online gambling through the casinos, and it is bringing a big income in. So there's also that aspect of economically. But we got to take a commercial break so that we could take care of our own economic favors here. But when we come back, we're going to get on more with the debating on Commotion. We'll see you after the break.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought, and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Welcome back to Commotion. The nature of politics is ingrained in the opportunity to voice your own opinion. So I hope you guys have an opinion on this. Political campaigns are in full swing at this point, and candidates will do almost anything to boost themselves in the polls, even if that means personally attacking other candidates. Donald Trump, for example. In a 95-minute speech in Iowa the other night, he attacked fellow candidate Ben Carson, calling him stupid and going so far as to compare him to a child molester. Have the political attacks by candidates gone too far, or is this just the nature of the system? Allison, have we gone too far?
We've absolutely gone too far. Donald Trump, in my opinion, to basically put it bluntly, is a pig, I think.
Ooh, wow.
He's so insecure about himself that he's willing to put down other opponents to make him feel better. And I think he's insecure about where he is in the polls right now. And, you know, putting other people down, in essence, would make him feel better.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
And I just don't think he's a good person. We knew from day one that, you know, Trump is more than willing to go to extreme lengths to voice his opinion. And I think this is really just a matter of him being insecure, and I'm not surprised by it at all, to be honest.
Okay, well, you don't have to go to extreme lengths to voice your opinion here, so anybody offer an argument to
Well,
this?
you know, and on August 27th, Hillary Clinton actually came out and said that Republicans that supported abortion are actually similar to terrorist groups. So, yeah, you know, I think that it's ridiculous sometimes. I mean, you can't expect anything less from Trump, and it's probably not 100% inaccurate because Ben Carson's kind of lost his mind. But no, I think that it's just, you know, it is a product of the system, but I think that it is still wrong. I mean, I think that it's getting more and more extreme every year, and I think that mudslinging is far from a new thing. But I think that it's gotten to a point where they're attacking not even just like, you know, like what the other people believe in politically. They're attacking their character and stuff like that, and really some stuff that doesn't even matter towards the campaign. So I think that it is kind of gone too far.
Yeah, but Donald Trump's been using those kind of tactics before he even entered the political platform. Jeff, I mean, are you privy to anything that Donald Trump's been doing throughout the years? I mean,
I'm not surprised at what he does, but I think that rant actually hurt his campaign. I hope it did, because I really don't want him to be our president. Because if you listen to how he speaks, during his rant, there's no fluidity of thought. He doesn't really have one concrete thought that leads to another one. He just keeps calling Ben Carson stupid. That's it.
I mean, Donald Trump he's just a different, I don't know, people get on him for the way he says stuff, but he just says stuff differently, and he's kind of like the first politician, if you can even call him that right now, that's really been afraid to not be 100% politically correct with everything he says. And I mean, I don't think that strategy is going to help him win, but I think that if anything, it should open up people's eyes, and it really is causing conversation, which at the very least is what he's aiming for. And with the stuff at Carson, I mean, Carson's his biggest competitor right now, so you've got to expect that he's going to go all out towards Carson. And Carson's been saying a lot of crazy stuff himself, so you can't expect that a guy like Donald Trump isn't going to go right ahead and hop right on it.
I think you can say it in a more appropriate and mature way, though. I mean, the way he says it, it's so...
It's tactless.
Exactly. It almost shows that he has no morals, and if the best thing he can do is bash on other opponents, what does he really have to offer for us? Nothing, in my opinion.
And you can't really expect anything more from Donald Trump or anything less from it, actually. I mean, because he's been pushing limits, and so I don't think the limits has gone too far at all.
We're very familiar with Donald Trump and how he is, the way he acts. We're getting what we expected.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
Exactly.
he's doing. It's all part of his act, and this is what he wants you to be. He wants people to be talking about him all the time, and it's working.
It's a popularity contest now. That's what this campaign is absolutely turned into.
Okay. Well, good opinions, guys, and we have to move on. Our next topic, we have to address a serious situation that happened over the last week. In light of the Paris attacks that occurred late last week and the revelation that one of the attackers came to France as a Syrian refugee, The American people and several governors have developed opposition to accepting any Syrian refugees. Do you believe this goes too far, or is this an appropriate position given the current climate? I mean, do you guys think it's too much? I mean, or do we have to protect ourselves?
We got to protect ourselves. I mean, I don't see why we have to open up our doors to everyone all the time. I think America's been too hands-on with everything recently, and I think ISIS has to be addressed. Yes, but I don't think that we need to be opening up our doors to other stuff. Like ISIS is just, they're a type of group that we haven't seen quite like this before. I mean, they're so extreme and they go to such extreme measures. And
the FBI says they have infiltrated all 50 states. They are currently residing.
And within the last 18 months, we have found over 70 people, including the Bosnian refugees that have come over here that have had connections to ISIS. So I think that we definitely need to play it safe right now. Does that mean that in a little bit, these people still need help, that we should be able to help them? Yes, but I think that right now, especially given what happened less than a week ago, I think that we definitely need to really reevaluate the situation and think that we really want to throw ourselves and set ourselves up in this sort of situation.
Okay, but to play devil's advocate, the basis of our country is the acceptance of other cultures and other people from other countries. That's what built this nation. If we take that away, do they win?
Well, today in the media, I actually just read that Turkish authorities detained 8 Istanbul people in a main airport that were seen to be a part of ISIS, and they were going to be refugees. So, I mean, I just think that speaks, measures that, I mean, I understand helping individuals, I understand helping other nations, other countries. We do have the reputation of helping other people. But in a situation like this, where our nation is at risk, I don't think it's worth it at all.
And 5 of the refugees that were supposed to be coming to the U.S. were actually found to have, while going through background checks, have fake passports, and they really have sketchy backgrounds, so they've been retained, and they possibly could have connections to ISIS.
Sure.
It still hasn't been proven yet. So I really think that we just really need to reevaluate the situation and not open ourselves up to possible attacks. And I know people are going to say that they're not all terrorists, and I understand that there's a good possibility that all 10,000 of the people, well, 9,995 are good, fine people that really need help, but I don't think that we need to be the people helping them.
It takes one person to cause a huge disaster in our country.
Perhaps they're taking advantage of our ideals and our acceptance of cultures. Jeff, do you think like we should be this protective?
I'm going to use your example against you, James. I hope that's okay.
Go
With
ahead.
thorough background checks, I think that these Syrian refugees can get allowed into our countries, and they should be. The civil war that's going on there right now is tough, and these people don't have homes, and I think we should set an example for other countries as well, and everyone should do a part to help out.
And I don't doubt that there are a lot of people that are having problems. The problem is that the reason we haven't been able to eliminate ISIS or eliminate, even like we had so much trouble with Al Qaeda and stuff like that, is that we don't know who the enemy is, and they are just so sneaky. No one saw the Paris tag coming because none of the people. You can't just pick them out. So it's hard to. It's a difficult thing because you don't know who could possibly have some sort of a connection, who could possibly be underground.
They're manipulative to begin with. So, I mean, I understand we're supposed to be helping other countries and whatnot, but I mean, like you said, the Paris attack was so unexpected. So what's going to stop them from coming to our country to try to mess it up?
I honestly disagree with the fact that the Paris attack was unexpected because I've looked back into it, and the U.S. August 9th, 2015, they put 6 F-16s into, I think it was Turkey, into the airbase there, and so that gives them more air supremacy over Syria. And
the U.S. has got to protect itself.
No,
we are a powerful nation for a reason because we should have the power to choose who should be able to come into our country. And I think that it's a mistake. I think it's pretty telling when 34 states immediately went ahead and said we don't want.
Yeah, but we don't need to protect ourselves overseas that far.
You don't know what they're gonna do.
If you start using a different word,
These are dangerous people.
Start using a different word for what we're doing in the Middle East. Start using the word invasion. Start using the word invaders because that's what we are.
We have not. We're simply setting ourselves up because basically the Middle East is a ticking time bomb ready to blast.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Thank you for your respected opinions in this matter. Our liberties to voice our opinions is what makes this country great. So when we come back from the break, we will exercise our right to voice our opinions more here on Commotion. We'll be right back.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it,
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got, or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We're back on Commotion, and we're going to move on to some topics that is sure to get our panelists debating even more. As you may know, Google has developed driverless cars which have been navigating the roads for some time now. However, one recently was stopped by a police officer for going too slow. Though this is a minor offense, do you feel that it is safe to have a world with driverless cars where humans are not in control? And do you feel confident enough that they will not create accidents because of the lack of human control? James?
I think that right now they're going to cause accidents because I just don't think the technology is evolved enough. And me personally, I wouldn't use a driverless car too much. I mean, the only thing I personally like driving. The only thing that I think would be very useful as a driverless car is to have a permanent DD, which would be awesome. But no, I mean, I don't think that driverless cars are a good idea right now. I think that people drive fine. I mean, people drive like crap anyways, but it's just I don't think that they're quite right.
Allison, do you agree with that, or could you see this something in the future that we could?
I'm very indifferent about this. I do agree with James. I don't think this is a great idea right now. Like he said, humans are a lot more trustworthy than a machine. They have impulse control. And just an example of that, think about if you get in an accident. Do you blame the driver? Do you blame the company that made the car? I feel like this just opens up a huge can of worms that we don't even want to get into. But I mean, at the same time, this is a big step in technology in the world we're in right now, and this might be helpful in a couple of years.
But Jeff, wouldn't it be fun to just kick back, relax, and do whatever you want as your car takes you where you need to go?
Like you said, Allison, you said that humans are more trustworthy than a machine, and I disagree with that. I think that machines are definitely more trustworthy than humans. Like you wouldn't necessarily trust a human to do a big calculation in its head, because machines can be exact and they have derivatives
But this is a
and
completely different
logarithms that can judge the area around them. And I don't think that the technology is like where it's at right now. But I think in the near future, I'm talking like near future, like 2 years maybe, we could see driverless cars.
The problem is that the cars don't understand human reactions. So the problem is
we have impulse control.
So the problem is that they have sensors that tell them when to stop and when to like merge lanes, stuff like that. So say a car is just like driving like crap, it could drive the driverless car off the road if it gets too close to it. It's not a thing. It's not a thing of like, like I'm sure the machine is smart enough, but I don't think that it just doesn't.
They can't see.
I'm gonna almost use your thing against you. Since humans are so imperfect, like the humans being imperfect is gonna make the car think too much, and it's gonna ruin it that way.
The problem is, though, also, is that anything man-made is made to be broken because we are not perfect ourselves. So, hey, my computer breaks down all the time at home. It's susceptible to viruses. That could be another form of terrorist attack. Start attacking the cars.
Absolutely.
I have never actually thought of that, and that is really scary.
Yeah, but earlier.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Earlier before you had said something about impulses or like the human mind.
Have impulse
control over machines or anything like that. But they actually are like designing in like a thought process into these machines of like whether or not they should do something or not on the road.
I just think that. I mean, I'm glad that this was just a test, but I think that the technology definitely has a ways to go still before I'd feel comfortable with people just having driverless cars all over the road.
And let me ask you something else. How many human accidents have there been, and how many AI accidents have there been? How many driverless cars accidents have there been? None.
How is that a fair question?
What? It is a fair question because
there's been like they're just testing these driverless cars right now.
Okay. I have a suggestion for everybody. Go watch the movie I, Robot. and then give me your opinion on this matter. All right. Now, this next topic everybody's been in an uproar about. Because for the holidays, Starbucks has released its annual holiday cup. But this year, the cup is only dark red instead of featuring designs that they have done in the past, such as Santa Claus, snowflakes, whatnot. Conservative Christians have become outraged, saying that Starbucks is attacking Christmas and pandering to the politically correct by removing the designs. These people are now calling for a boycott on Starbucks. A similar thing happened when gay rights was a hot topic. Many Christians called for the boycott of companies who supported equal marriage rights, such as Coca-Cola and Apple. Due to cases such as this, are boycotts still an effective method of protesting? Jeff, do you drink coffee? Are you a coffee drinker? A lot of people in California drink a lot of coffee.
No, I am a coffee drinker, and I think that boycotts are still a useful method to like prove a point.
But what about the point?
The point, yeah, that's what I was gonna get to. The point is kind of ridiculous, and I'm kind of ashamed that it got so much attention in the national media. That's it. That's all I have to say about it.
I mean, is this really our biggest problem right now? You know what I mean?
No.
Like, really, Starbucks cups? If anything, I think Christians should be kind of not ashamed of, but almost against the fact that, not specifically Santa, but I mean, snowflakes, snowmen are used instead of celebrating the holiday, which is the birth of Jesus. If anything, they should be upset about that, not what's on a Starbucks cup. I think it's silly.
I mean, and the snowflake and the snowman, that has nothing to do with anything Christmas
related
either.
at all.
That's just winter,
Exactly.
Which around here is like 6 months a year.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff. It's gonna be rough. But no, I mean, and the whole thing is boycotts. What this all got started was some Christian went there, and instead of saying his name, he said Merry Christmas, and they wrote Merry Christmas on the cup. So what he called is for all Christians to go to Starbucks and say their name was Merry Christmas, so they had to write Merry Christmas on the cup. That's great. Starbucks should love that, because now all the Christians are going to be going to Starbucks and buying their coffee. And so, I mean, I don't really think that is a boycott, and I think that it is kind of dumb because, to be honest, I mean, in past years, in theory, Jewish people could be freaking out that doesn't say Happy Hanukkah or something like that, I don't think that, and they didn't, because Jewish people have worse things to worry about. So I think that it's just, I think it is.
I think people are missing the point of the holiday,
They are.
which is to be kind to one another, take care of thy neighbor. It's not about the one religion; it's about everybody together in a communal atmosphere, right? I mean, who cares if there's a snowflake? Who cares if there's a reindeer? I mean, these are stuff people should be used to by now. If you're old enough to complain about it and have an opinion on it, you must have lived with it your whole life. So deal with it. Get over it. Get over yourselves, right?
Exactly.
I mean, companies change their. I mean, in theory, this could have nothing to do with the political correctness. This could be something different. I mean, just because it's a plain red cup, companies change what they look like all the time.
And so, they still have the drinks that are like what gingerbread cinnamon or something like that. So I mean, they are still displaying aspects of Christmas, but
it's just a different thing. Different companies change their logos, change their cups, and stuff like that all the time. I mean, just because it doesn't have the snowflake on it this year, I don't know why.
It's not a big deal.
Changing logos and cups just like we change topics here on Commotion. And our next one is about the leaders of the Church of Latter-day Saints, which have ruled that same-sex couples are apostates or religious traitors, and have announced that the children of Mormon same-sex couples cannot be baptized in response. Over 1,500 Mormons have formally resigned from the church, saying that same-sex couples and their children should be accepted. Do you think that in modern day, religious leaders still accurately represent everyday members of their religion?
I mean, no, probably not. I mean, on the show a few weeks ago, we were talking about the Pope going and seeing Kim Davis, and I mean, she was really against gay sex marriage, stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, I think there's definitely people that are going to interpret stuff different ways, but I mean, I think that in 2015, I think religion is used in a different way. Back in the day, religion was like what you had, and nowadays, I would say I think religion is still very important, but I think that it's more of a set of guidelines to kind of like guidelines to make you a morally good person, make you a good person overall. You shouldn't just take everything at face value. And so I think that is a little ridiculous, and I think that people that are just having such big outrage over same-sex marriage is just. I mean, I don't. it's a law now. I don't think that you can really fight the law in that way.
It's such a big thing now. Like the LGBT community is huge now. It shouldn't even be, a matter of
definitely.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't even be a part of like politics or religion anymore.
And the argument that you have your religious freedom, using that argument, they also have the law to have same-sex marriage. I mean, that's their freedom, So just because you don't believe in it, that's fine. But I don't see that should be a thing. And I don't honestly know if all the people even at the top believe in all this stuff anymore. I mean, obviously. That's all vague. I mean, obviously you don't know, but
it probably has a lot to do with like politics. How there's a lot of politicians, they fight for things that they don't necessarily believe in, but they're towing the line for others.
Yeah, I mean, and
for a political stance.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Jeff, do you? I'll let you get in on this.
I think this is a feeble attempt by the Mormon community to fight homosexuality in their church. Because they're not targeting homosexual couples, they're targeting their kids.
Right.
And I think that they're, like, even if they were to make a religious, like, stance on it or, like, a stance against homosexuality in their church, they're doing it the wrong way. So I think this is...
Yeah, they need to practice what they preach. They always preach, being good Christians and accepting everyone and being good societal members and whatnot. But to shun these people and not let them be baptized, like, within their religion, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, and the children, what are they done wrong? The children can't control that they got adopted by a same-sex couple. Why don't the children get a chance? The children are children. I mean, they don't know any better of anything. I mean, they didn't consciously decide to be with this gay-sex couple, so I don't know why they don't get an opportunity to get exposed to religion and stuff like that because of who their parents are.
It's all going against the basis of what religion is all about. Love, caring for each other, just like I said about Christmas.
That's what it should be about, exactly.
It's always people trying to tear down the good times, right?
It's terrible. There's too many people on this earth right now. Everyone has to have their own opinion, and now there's 7 billion opinions out there. It's just starting to all clash into each other.
Jeff, you seem like you got an opinion.
I don't think that religion is about... Like some religions, especially in the Middle East, if we're going back to it, are about love and care. Like Islam, it depends on how you interpret the Quran, because Muhammad, the actual disciple or whatever, the prophet, you could say, went on a lot of jihads, and jihads are basically like the religious wars, and it's spreading their thoughts and the Islamic...
The basis of the scriptures.
Yeah, the Islamic faith.
Fortunately,
but it depends on how you interpret things.
Right,
yeah.
It's all human interpretation that messes everything up.
Fortunately, the interpretation by some very select people has not been very much that same right now.
Yeah, but going back to what I was saying, I think that religion is actually just a way for governments in the past, at least, not our current government and not most governments today, but to control people.
Okay.
And power.
Well, thank you, panelists. That's all the time we have for today, which also means it's time for me to decide who is this week's Commotion champion. All 3 panelists offered up great arguments, but only one can win. So after careful consideration, our winner is... I gotta go with James again.
Oh,
thank you.
The first real 2-time champion in Commotion history. Well, congratulations. You now have 30 seconds to get commotional about whatever you want.
Yeah.
But first, we need to remind our viewers that you can catch Commotion and other CTV programs on Time Warner Cable Channel 12. So without further ado, take it away, James.
Yeah, and I'll have to give Caitlin a shout out. She's the real first 2-time champion. But I just... What am I going to talk about? Christmas is coming up. I'm very excited about Christmas. So everyone go out there and download their Christmas album. If you need help, ask Nick Ferguson for help because Nick has a great Christmas album. Make sure to download Michael Bublé. Michael Bublé's Christmas album is the greatest thing ever. It's going to be the only thing I listen to on the way home back for the Thanksgiving break. And I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and check back into the Commotion Christmas episode.
James, that was very moving. And thank you all for joining us this week. I'm Rob Sweet, and we'll catch you next time on Commotion.